Hey there, my fellow author. I'm Sarah Elizabeth Sawyer, an old soul kind of writer living my dream as a full-time author and authorpreneur. But I didn't start out living a confident, creative lifestyle. I struggled with the fears and the mental and emotional barriers that so often plague writers at all stages of their author career. But the truth is that with the right knowledge, tools, and training, you can overcome those barriers. I'm here to teach you how I've developed a lifestyle that's allowed me to publish 19 books and counting. Each week, as you tune into the Confident Fiction Author podcast, you'll get clarity on the steps you need to take to advance your writing career. Whether it's developing your ideal writing routine, tackling new skills like dictating your fiction, or overcoming the obstacles life throws your way, this podcast will help you live a more confident, creative lifestyle. Let's get started. Well, hey there, my fellow author, and welcome to this episode of the Confident Fiction Author podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Elizabeth Sawyer, and today we are outside. I'm sitting here on my porch in front of the library. It's an old wood-style porch, and we built it. We built it a few years ago, and it already needs a new coat of stain, but we just love it out here, and it's the perfect place to enjoy a summer morning like this with a breeze. And I decided to record this episode outside on my phone, no mic, no special equipment, because I just want to spend some time with you. If you've noticed, I've been running a few encore podcast episodes, and they're great episodes. I hope you enjoyed them. But honestly, the past few months have just been bonkers, and I haven't been able to record any new episodes, and I almost gave up today. I really needed to get this recorded, and I almost didn't do it. I even considered taking a break for the summer, or at least for the next month with the podcast, but I know there are so many of you who enjoy it, and I was determined to hunker down and just get this done. And really, this method that I'm doing, just sitting outside and enjoying this time and sharing some stories with you, is really appropriate considering the topic that I decided to tackle, and that is play as a learning style. So let's get right on into it. When I was growing up and doing different activities, especially like 4-H, which is a youth program, fantastic program, loved it, spent 10 years in 4-H. It shaped so much of who I am. But typically in those, at some point, there would be some kind of survey or something that you would need to fill out defining what your learning style was. And I would always wrestle with that. Even as a young person, I would wrestle with that. It had like reading on there or watching demonstrations or hands-on, and I would always kind of go back and forth between all of it, really, because I love to read and I learned by reading, but I really learned by hands-on. That's when it really stuck with me. And I didn't realize it until recent years that ultimately play is my learning style. And this might be you, and maybe you've not ever realized it. But it is really how I learn best. And this is also going to tie into messy first drafts and learning new skills like dictation and being messy with that, which I'll talk about here in just a minute. But thinking about my 4-H days, really that was play. I took some of it pretty serious, especially like the leadership and the competitions that we would do. I served in every office in my 4-H clubs over time, from president, vice president, down to reporter. And I say down to reporter. Everyone was always like, Sarah should be the reporter. And that was my first like formal writing position. And I had to write a club report, and I submitted it to our local newspapers, my first publishing clips. But really looking back, that was play. I was in this youth organization, and we were learning these really valuable skills. But ultimately, it was through play. And I'm still using those things that I learned through play in those youth years today in my writing career. The other aspect of play that really influenced who I am as a writer from my childhood is playing with stuffed animals. I kid you not, my brother and I, we had over 100 stuffed animals, and we loved creating story worlds for them. They all had unique characters and personalities and these locations and housing, like the whole thing. We built these entire story worlds for our stuffed animals. And I actually, for some reason, I got on my writing blog the other day, which I have not kept up with over the recent years. But I went on there and I went all the way back to some of my oldest posts, and I had one on there about our story worlds and what we built with our stuffed animals. And it was like, you know what? If these stories aren't engaging enough to keep little kids entertained, then we had to up our game. Like, we had to figure out how we could tell better stories to keep ourselves entertained and engaged with them. There was even a part that I had forgotten about in that blog post where we would set our little stuffed animal kingdoms up through the hallway and the bedrooms, and my dad would get home from work and he would like be scooching toy horses and their stuffed animal riders off to the side, and we're like, no, that's set up for the story tomorrow. We've got to finish the story tomorrow. And that was my foundational training in learning how to write and how to tell engaging stories. And it was all through play. When God really put me on the path to writing as a career, like this is what you're to do with your life, you're to be a writer, I was in my early 20s. One of the first things I did was join a writing challenge. It was a weekly writing challenge over on faithwriters.com. They would drop a topic and you had 1 week to come up with an idea that was unlike the other 200 entries that would be coming in. Write it, edit it, and submit it. And it had to be under 750 words. So it was quite a challenge, but it was so fun. And one of the reasons why is the community. We would leave each other comments. We called them gold boxes because literally it's old forum style, old website style. So it's these gold boxes, and we would leave each other comments. And it was so fun to be able to do that, engage with the community, and just take up that challenge every week to submit a story. It was fun. It was play. And that is what really honed my craft in writing and also helped me to develop my unique style and my voice in writing. And that is one of the things that I think, especially beginning authors, they're like, how do you develop your voice? How do you develop your style? Like, what is unique about the way you are telling stories? I think one of the best ways to develop that, there's a lot of writing advice out there, a lot of craft things. There are things you can do, but ultimately, most advice boils down to just do it. Just start writing. Just get in there and write. And I think that's just such a struggle for authors. And you're just filled with so much doubt. Like, is this my voice? How do I actually develop my voice? Like, somebody give me a process. So if that's you, if you've ever felt like you're struggling with that and you just don't feel confident in developing your writing voice, or have you developed it? How do you know that? I encourage you to just play. Play with your writing, even if you need to step away from your current work in progress, and just do some fun writing projects. Do something that you never planned to publish. It's not a genre you're wanting to pursue as an author. It's just play. This may be something, even if you've written 100 books and you feel like you've lost your voice, you feel like maybe you've lost your footing a bit as a writer. Go back and play. Go back and play with some older stories, to your roots as a writer, and what really inspired you to get started as a writer. Thinking about play as a learning style, that's something I've really worked to incorporate in my trainings, especially recently. Back just a couple of months ago, I revamped my entire fiction digital course, teaching authors how to dictate their fiction. And it was intense. It was a lot of work. One of my goals with that was to make it as effortless for you as an author to master the skill of dictation. One of the principles I went back to was in a book, one of my favorite books called Effortless by Greg McKeown. Highly recommend you go check that book out if you haven't read it. But one of his core principles in there to make things effortless is to ask yourself the question, how can this be fun? Or what if this could be fun? And I just love that. I never realized how much fun and play was a part of my learning process, especially when it came to a new skill, until I read that book And then it really clicked when I was watching a YouTube video. I was in YouTube University, right? Trying to learn this new skill. And the lady on YouTube that was teaching it, she said, just get in there and play with it. Like, don't try to go in there and do the project that you're wanting to do and try to make it perfect. Like, just play with it first and then work on developing what it is you're really wanting to do. And I latched onto that. I was like, okay, that immediately removed the overwhelm. It removed the fear and the intimidation and that I can't do this. This is so uncomfortable. This is so weird. It removed all of that. And I just got in there and started playing. And before I knew it, I had the skill down and I was able to build the thing I wanted to build. And I'm going to talk about that in upcoming episodes. So stay tuned. I built something really, really cool for authors. But it all started with play. And I would not have even attempted that if I had not gone into it with the mindset of play. Or if I did get up the courage to do it, I would have ended up in tears and frustrated because it was so overwhelming. And that's why I really want you to latch on to this concept of play as a learning style. Apply it to your writing. Take a step back and say, what if this could be fun? Or how can I just play with this? How can I ease into it with play rather than trying to write the next great American novel, or I'm trying to figure out exactly how to do this and how to make it look great and look like something I could actually present to people. Like, just take that pressure off. That reminds me of another story of play way back in the day with NaNoWriMo, National Writing Month. We won't talk about that. I have so many fond memories of the early days of it, and it's so sad where things went. But in those really early days, that was play for me, and that was one of the powers of National Novel Writing Month. Just getting in there and having fun. It was gamified. You could watch your word count, be a part of community. And I rarely quote won it. I rarely wrote 50,000 words in a month. In fact, I think I only won once or twice. But it was a form of play. And I remember the first year I did it, I wrote 30,000 words in a month. And it blew my mind. I was like, I can actually do this. I can actually write thousands of words, not just a few half-written short stories in notebook paper, notebooks. Like, I was actually writing long form. That's what made it click that I could really be a novelist. I could write the kind of books, the size books that I was accustomed to reading in my teen years. And it broke through that barrier, that discomfort, that fear, that overwhelm of writing more than 2,000 or 3,000 words in a story. With that, I do remember the first year that I won Nano, and I forget, I think it was Create Space. Back in the day, it was a print-on-demand company. They were one of the sponsors of the event. And one of the things they offered to all of the winners was for you to be able to submit and get a free proof copy of your novel, which was so exciting for me just getting started. I had no money, and to get a free proof copy, I didn't even have to pay shipping. To actually see all of my words in print was thrilling. The problem is I hadn't actually finished my novel. And so I had written the end, but I had skipped about 7 or 8 chapters in the middle. I literally had a placeholder said, add these chapters with these things in. And it was very short. It was only like 1 page, even of notes of what was supposed to go in those chapters. And looking back, I was like, that was the muddy middle, right? That was the muddy middle. And it was the thing that I always loathe writing. It's so, you just get bogged down there. I will say with dictation now, and I have a whole other training on this, but with dictation, muddy middle, I'm able to fly through it now. But I wasn't dictating back then, and the idea of typing out the muddy middle was just too overwhelming for me. So I had these placeholder notes in there, and I had, quote, finished my novel. I had a beginning and an end. I just didn't have the muddy middle. But I had, at that point, I think I had probably 50 or 60,000 words, and I really wanted to hold those words in my hands. The deadline for claiming your proof copy came up really quick on me, and I kept having in my mind, I'll finish that and I'll submit it. And here the deadline was right on top of me. And I thought, I'm going to print what I have. It's not a proof copy. The book's not even finished, but this is just fun. It would be so fun to hold this book in my hands. I'm going to submit it. So I did, missing chapters and all. I submitted that for a proof copy. I picked like one of their templates. It was so ugly. It was just a template for the cover. And I picked that and just submitted it. I remember though, getting that book in my hands, unfinished, messy disaster that it was. And I felt like a real author. Like, not in the sense of I am a real author, but like, this is possible. Like, I'm holding my future and my dreams in my hands. Like, it's here. And it was such a thrilling moment. And it was just play. In a sense, like I was playing author, right? Like I was playing as if I were a published author and this was my next novel coming out, which that novel, by the way, is still unpublished. I never went and finished it. It never will be. That's just kind of the saga of first novels, at least in my experience. But it was the moment that I got to take on that experience and that persona of being a real author and getting a taste of what that was like. And that fueled me for the next year and the next year. And that's really what play does. It helps you to learn the skill, but then it also just fuels you. It fuels you for the next challenge, for that hard part that is really not fun. Like when I did publish my first book, it did not feel like play. It really was not. But because I had already had the experience in play, it gave me just enough confidence, just enough starting power and energy to get all the way through and publish my first book, which happened in 2013, some years after I held that first proof copy in my hands of that very incomplete, unpublished novel. And I knew that becoming an author was actually possible. Now, I know I mentioned about my Fictation digital course and how I completely revamped it. It now follows the draft framework, which I'll do an episode on that, breaking it down for you sometime of what it takes to learn dictation and write your drafts by just speaking your words by dictation. So that will be coming. But while we're on the subject of play, I just thought of this morning. I've decided I'm going to give you all a coupon code in honor of summer play because here we are. I know here, at least in my hemisphere, we're into summer, and this might be the perfect time for you to play with dictation and play with that skill, learning it so that it now becomes a powerful tool in your author toolkit. So in the show notes, there's going to be a link that will take you directly to that course and the discount. It's going to be a $200 discount, y'all. Like I said, I just thought of this morning. I was like, let's have fun with it. I'm sitting outside feeling very inspired and just excited to be reconnecting with you as a fellow author. So that's what I'm going to do. It's a $200 discount on my Fictation digital course. You can click the link in the show notes or in the email that I send out with this, which if you're not on my email list, be sure and get on there through fictioncourses.com. There'll be a place down near the bottom to sign up for my email list so that you get these episodes in your inbox when they release. But just click that link and the discount will be auto applied. If you do end up over on my website, fictioncourses.com/dictation, you'll be able to get to the course there, and just be sure and enter the coupon code when you're checking out. It will be Summer Play, all one word, just Summer Play. And that will be for $200 off my Fictation course. And bonus, it's not even on my website, but I built an app, a companion app for this course. And so when you enroll, you'll get a link to go get that on your phone, the companion app. Talk about fun. That is why I built this. And there is literally a section in there called Playground. It is the Fictation Playground, and it is designed to allow you to just give yourself that permission to play with dictation and really learn dictation by playing. Take that pressure off of learning a new skill, of that, oh, this feels awkward, this feels weird, it's overwhelming, like how do I do this? I wanted to remove all of that with this course and with this companion app. So you get the companion app totally free when you enroll in the course inside of Fictation. And even the word fictation is so fun. Like we get to be fictators and we get to say we're fictating. So I invite you to come and learn that skill by just playing with it. And again, you can get that $200 off the course. The coupon code is SummerPlay. It will be auto-applied if you click the link in the show notes or in the email that I sent out, or shoot me an email. I'm just at hello@fictioncourses.com. Shoot me an email if you have any issues with enrollment or any questions about dictation. I read all of those emails and respond to them. So I would love to hear from you. Again, that's $200 off my Fictation course, and you can get that link in the show notes or at fictioncourses.com/dictation. Just be sure that you enter the coupon code SummerPlay. All right, my friend, as we wrap up here, I have a question for you. What is your learning style? Is it through reading? Is it through hands-on? Is it through watching a demonstration? How do you learn best? Or is it by play? I'd love for you to share your learning style over on Substack. I'm at fictioncourses.substack.com. You can find this episode over there and drop me a comment. Let me know. What is your learning style? That's all for this episode, my fellow author. I will see you in the next one of the Confident Fiction Author podcast. Take care.